Hey everybody, this is Calvin Waite. I trade crypto for a living. I'm not a registered or licensed financial advisor, planner, or broker, so nothing on this channel should be taken as a recommendation to buy or sell. I also trade all of these things, so I probably have a vested interest in there. But there's plenty of entertainment value and lots of education, so this will be awesome. For those of you who didn't know, my subscription channel is live. So look at the link in the description over at cryptoinfluencers.com and you can see how I make all of my trades and what I do and what I think about everything. This channel is for more hypothetical and looking at trends, and the other one is for actual trading. So you might be interested in that. Well, happy Wednesday, everybody. Wow, do we have a lot to talk about today? Oh man, why is it that Wednesdays are really hot or cold? They're really everything's going the right way, or else everything's going the wrong way. So there's a lot to talk about and everything. Very cool. Nice to see some people here. The Garen Group, welcome. Go Digibyte, he says. Spencer S, it won't stop going up. Yes, it will not. All right, we're gonna dig into this, and we'll just kind of figure out, from a charting and from a technical perspective, we'll kind of look at what's going on. Also, just from a trading perspective, like what on earth does this mean? Like, what do we do from here? But before we get too far, thanks for making some comments to make sure that everyone is here. Things are live. Dougie, welcome. Yeah, wow, it's really booming. Yes, it is. So my main home place is cryptoinfluencers.com. So this is where I upload all of my stuff first, and then it goes out to everywhere else. And then this is the pro channel in case you're interested. All right. Well, there's no reason why we shouldn't just jump in. What are we looking at here? This is the 1 minute chart for the past 2 days. This is since the CPI data that came out. So you can see right down here. See this? We had this little spike up, and then the news broke that we were below expectations. We dropped immediately to here, and then we flattened and absolutely launched. And I thought, weird, whales are just messing with us. And then things came back, and I was like, okay, that's about the right thing that should happen. And then we oscillated, and then we climbed, and then we kind of pulled back. And I thought, okay, especially last night, I was like, okay, well, we hit a death cross on the 4 hour. There's a lot of reasons why this is just kind of a fake out or whatever. And then in the middle of the night, boom, we just launched. I don't have an explanation. I really don't. It doesn't make any sense. So let's just take a look, It just, out of nowhere, we just went ahead and launched upwards quite a bit overnight. This morning, markets opened and things were kind of hovering. They were just kind of all in that same range. And then most recently, in the last 5 minutes, an hour to 5 minutes, we just rocketed up. Well, this is the 1 minute chart, so this is literally the last half hour. So people are trying to make my job hard as I do my live streams. Let's back out. Let's go down to the 1 day and look at this chart. So we have been waiting. So during this entire run up, we were waiting for a pullback of some kind, right? Didn't exactly know what that pullback would look like and kind of where it would end, but this is unmistakably a pullback. And it was definitely, I kind of felt like it was the smallest pullback we could possibly have made, and it felt like there was more room to run on that. Going to the 4 hour to just kind of zoom in on this pullback, we had this amazing Wyckoff that played out to the T. And then when we came down, it was likely that we would pull up a little bit, and then we'd continue rejecting. And we had this lower low that came in from here. And then that turned around and we went up to here. And this is where we kind of pulled into the death cross. And that's perfectly normal. And so this would have been a nice place to reject because we finally did get a cross between some of our wicks. And so then went to bed and thought that was it. And woke up this morning and we were all the way out in here. So this is very, very curious. What do we do from here? Well, whatever this high is kind of dictates a lot. Initially, we were hovering around the 20. If we drop down for a dip and we end up with a lower high, then coming back down, this whole structure is bearish. So there's really no question about that. When things get a little bit weird is when we start slipping past a flip from support and resistance. So this line that I've drawn up here, this blue line, and I'll zoom in a little more so you can see it easier. Somebody was telling me that I need to zoom in more, so. But yeah, so this became our support throughout our entire consolidation at the top here. We had support crossed here, tons of wicks, lots of support all the way down, all the way through here. When we dropped below this support, this line becomes incredibly strong resistance, especially with something that's, when we find, when support gets shaky at the top of a move like this, this is a major point of resistance. Well, we've blasted through that. And the 20 is here, and the 20 should be resistance as well. So we pulled above the 20 and we've been way above it. And then the first time we really broke down through it, is it normal for us to just pop right through and just, no questions asked, we just leave this behind? I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. The tough thing is that we still have a death cross on the weekly, and we've never seen that before. And so there's just a case on both sides. But I've been working, talking to the Pro Channel this morning about how to kind of work through a lot of this. And, at this point, we have to wait for a close. Nothing, I don't make decisions knee jerk, and I'm not going to make an emotional decision. So you have to, you kind of have to sit back and wait for things to finalize. I'm not sure what end of day looks like. We have 4 hours and 21 minutes. I don't know if we pull back by end of day. I don't know if we even go further from here at end of day. But for sure, if we are above this 20, we are most likely flipping to a bullish scenario. Then I'm going to be unraveling all of my shorts, and I'm going to be moving into a long situation because we did get a pullback. Technically, this is a pullback. Did it satisfy my my every want and desire? No, not really. It was a little bit lackluster, but there's really no denying it. We pulled back unbelievably precisely right on this line, and this is the line I drew like 7 months ago. And this was our trading range originally when we had our first selling climax at the end of the really wild bear market as we were kind of consolidating. And so amazing that we touched down on this. But is there a technical handoff from resistance to support? Yeah, there's a case for that, right? Plus, this wick here, our most recent swing high before we really dropped, we overcame that with this little fight. It was little, and I didn't think it was sufficient, but we moved up into this higher range, and then when we pulled back, this wick right here with a low of 21,352 did intersect with this high of 21,480. So we had a $150 cross. This wick missed 21,441. Oh no, maybe that was a connection too. So we did get two wicks that did cross our wick here. So there was a technical handoff between resistance here and support here. Is it the prettiest thing I've ever seen? Yeah, it's not very pretty. Things are really happening pretty fast. So I really, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not sold on the fundamentals of this market yet. But I have no choice but to to trade the market that I'm given, right? We can't trade on what should happen. We can't trade on what we want to have happen or what would make sense or anything like that. If it's an irrational market that we've been given, we have to trade on it. And you know what? There's a case. Like, there is rationality here. It's just really wild. It's really full of emotional players. So if we're above the 20, I'm going to start averaging out of my shorts and averaging into longs, and I'm going to slowly start making a transition, preparing for further upside. It's not very pretty. Like, with this kind of major resistance so close to us, it does make me uncomfortable. So it's going to be kind of a slow move into a handover from kind of feeling bearish to going bullish. And that's kind of the only way you can play this. The other thing is, with kind of the fundamentals of the market, we just have, it just kind of blows my mind. We have the best unemployment ever. So everyone's employed, which means people supposedly, I don't know what employment means. I don't know if people have to be employed so they don't die, or if that means that there really is, spending money out there. But either way, prices have increased and people are still paying the prices. And so when we have the best unemployment numbers ever, and then we see that inflation is really not dropping as much as expected, and even whether the expectation is great or not, where we went from 6.5 to 6.4, whether we expected that or not, it's not coming down. Like, inflation is not moving. And so the Fed is most likely going to get more aggressive. I don't see how they can't. There's a lot to kind of weigh back and forth. But if the Fed does increase rates or surprises the market with that, it will push things down. And Bitcoin will be no exception to that. So it's just going to be, I don't know. It feels like there's a little bit of a train wreck up ahead, and this move is just so aggressively bullish ever since that meeting, because this was the day that news broke, and we've gone absolutely vertical from there, and it doesn't make sense to me. But we can't sit around and wait for the foundations to crack. We gotta hedge things up and make sure that we're trading smart. This is when you're really glad that you've managed your risk and had position size in a place where you can handle volatility. So it's just one of those things. All right, so Gaitner PC LLC says this is looking really bad. Not touching this with a 10-foot pole, and alts aren't falling for it. And R. Williams says, doesn't make any sense. I agree. It really doesn't make sense. It's absolutely amazing. But, if we are, when we're talking about support and resistance, if this was support, in a bearish scenario, in an ideal bearish scenario, we would come up and we would hit it as resistance, and then we would fall through our prior support and we would do the exact same thing. That's just how these markets work. The distance between the support and the resistance doesn't matter. It can go as big or small as it does, but if the market is intact, it'll do that. The fact that we're threatening to slip back up through what should be resistance means that either this market isn't ready to fall or we have another bullish leg. And there's a lot of excitement, enthusiasm out there. Lots of people getting all excited. But moving above this would be a big move. Moving above the 20 is a big move, but where we are currently, like we are now at the high of our little bull trap that we had before the Wyckoff pulled us down. So if we're level with this, we could easily come back down and find support off of this line, and we're out of here. So, you know, if we break this with authority, 22.6 is all of a sudden very attractive support. And how high do we go? I'm not entirely sure. If I look at this on a weekly, you can see that we did come back, and this is official. You know, when we ended the week on Monday, I was looking at this like, holy cow. I mean, we really did touch this as support. So we have broken out of our downtrend. We do have our flip to support in. I was kind of like, we didn't even touch the death cross up here. You know, we weren't even strong enough to get there. Well, after a pullback to confirm a line that's a year and a half old, and then, you know, I don't know, we're 4 days away from this, but if we print a bullish engulfing candle, you know, after this, things could get pretty vertical. I don't want to be on the wrong side of this, you know what I mean? So really wild, really wild. And with our move today, even our monthly, we're coming back up to the monthly 50. So that still closes in 2 weeks, but yeah, if we stop at resistance on the monthly 50 and then start our new candle on the other side, there's a monthly case that things are changing. So we really have to take all these things into consideration. So Local Liquid says, hey, Calvin, always good stuff. Well, thank you. I wish I got it 100% every time, but you know, we're human and we're dealing with a you know, it's all probabilities. The odds are we would have some sort of a breakdown, but when it doesn't, we gotta roll with it. It's CZ playing tricks, says Blue Sky. I have no idea. I mean, as far as fundamentals go, there is an interesting thing with the SEC coming after stable coins. That was kind of a surprise to me. If there was, I mean, surprise and not surprise. The surprise was, you know, I don't necessarily look at stable coins as this like security. Like, you know, when you look at the Howey test and you're looking at a stable coin, are you investing in something with the expectation of future returns from the efforts of others in a stable coin? Like you're flat, right? That doesn't make sense. But I have a friend that was kind of giving me the other side of it, and he was like, you know, if stable coins aren't fully backed and there's risks there, that's when the SEC would come in and double check that. So that does make sense. And is that causing people to run away from their now questionable USDB or whatever the Binance stablecoin is? If they're worried about that holding its value or something because it's under attack by, you know, the SEC, are they rushing out of dollars into Bitcoin? Like, possibly. I mean, it's possible. But the counter to that is, why is the S&P doing this? Why did we have 3 green days? I know we opened the day lower, but we've had 3 green trading days in response to that CPI reading, and including the unemployment. So it's not Bitcoin really behaving this way in a vacuum. I mean, you can see a little bit of downward pressure from the bodies of on the S&P, but the support on the bottom coming up, there's no weakness here. So even though we're kind of getting into a little bit of a wedge, I don't see a case where the bears are winning here. I don't see it. So we just kind of have an odd situation because all the markets are bullish, not just Bitcoin. So it can't necessarily be that stablecoin issues and other small items that are impacting just the crypto world are kind of dictating what's happening. Blue Sky says stablecoins depeg as well, presenting opportunity for making more money for exchanges and issuers. Yeah, but yeah, that's still my point. It's like, oh, could I use a Cohen says, great stuff, Calvin. Is there a way for you to use a bigger pointer? Following on my cell phone often. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. Arrow. I don't know. I think the cross is helpful if you can, the little black lines on the sides and the bottom can kind of tell you where I'm trying to point. But I'll check. Maybe I'll change my settings and be one of those nerdy people with the giant oversized pointer. But yeah, really, really odd. I mean, I'm open to something that I've missed. If you see something that I don't see in all of this, I would love to hear a comment because to me it's a little bit mysterious. I don't quite see the explanation for it. But from a technical standpoint, when I'm reading a chart like this, I see a strong move to the top, a curve back down to the bottom, and I'm looking for a lower high. If we start breaking prior support and doing all this wacky stuff, it gets really gray up in this area. It gets gray until you break this. Because, I mean, from 100-foot view, if you really stand back, we kind of have a support here. And then we've kind of curved over pretty smoothly. I mean, there's no real strong standout bottom here. It feels like the whole thing curves over. And then we have a flip from this resistance to this support. So it still feels like there's a case that we're still moving. But then the problem is if this move up here doesn't overcome 23,700, then we're kind of in the same boat. Like we're still bearish. So from a technical standpoint, we're really in a gray area. We're really kind of in a gray area, but it's not an area that if you're 100% short, you better not leave yourself open for the possibility of just getting completely wiped out. And that's why I'm going to start kind of averaging in and slowly limiting my short exposure. I don't want to do it all at once because I really don't know what the outcome of this is going to be. And so I kind of need to be judicious about it. Spencer S. So many people looking at the halving. I expect a lot of these random spikes as large entities try to get ahead of it. And everyone will want to be in before April and May. Yeah. The halving happens in next year, 2024. But I know leading up to the halving, that's when there's a lot. I mean, historically, Bitcoin really shows a lot of strength moving into that halving. Yeah, here's the monthly view. So you can kind of see that it's only, when you get about 12 months before the halving, things are starting to move. In this case, we didn't. We kind of went the wrong way into halving, but that's because we got overexcited. So where's the middle point? And then this halving, of course, we have 12 months before this halving, it really heated up and then got explosive. Same thing here. And then here, we're just barely coming out of the bottom of our bear market. So I was expecting an overheated situation first, and then we'll probably cool off into the halving. But, and if that's true, then this really should be going up. It should be doing exactly what it's doing. But it's really hard to read from the death cross standpoint, where we've never seen a Bitcoin death cross. This puts a little bit of a question mark in the technicals. You don't normally just go sailing through a death cross, without a significant struggle. And I would not necessarily call this a significant struggle. This is a pretty decent move. A only 2 week break, and then we're just going to go straight up through it. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm like completely sold that that's the outcome of how this will work. A lot of videos I've been watching reference 9 months out, says Spencer. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, even with that, last time we didn't quite see that. The one thing we know, though, for sure, is, yeah, because let's see, 9 months from here. Yeah, so 9 months out last time we were definitely struggling, but we were way overheated from our bottom. So by the time we got to 9 months to the halving, we had already had a major increase. But yeah, once the halving is in, usually it's time to move, and that has happened every time. Once the halving is in, we're there. So trying to get in ahead of the halving is always the name of the game when it comes to Bitcoin. The lead in is always a little weird. But yeah, pretty interesting. I appreciate your ideas and your thoughts there. Very, very interesting. So yeah, now, and I don't trade on these lower time frames, but it's kind of incredible to go to the 1 minute chart sometimes just to see, these moves. Like, we were at 22.8 and we've put $500 on this, and it really is not much time. I mean, it's really moved quickly. Dougie says, as you know, I love looking at the shorter time scales. My feeling recently that the bullish pumps have looked natural, but bearish somehow controlled. Not the usual dropping. So it seems like there's a lot of control. Yeah, it really feels like the buying pressure is immense. So maybe we're lucky to get any pullbacks. This happened during this period of time. In 2019, it was really hard to find a pullback. So, maybe it's really hot and we won't see very many. And that's why I want to average and change sides a little bit here. But man, what a question mark having that death cross on the weekly sitting out there. If we get a weekly close above the 200, this thing is just ready to blow up. There's nothing stopping it. If we get above the $25,000 mark, yeah, there's no bear case here. So by the time we get there, we want to be making sure we're pretty well, positioned. But as far as, what are we doing with this move? I don't know. Like, it'll be very interesting to see in the next 4 hours if we're still here or if we've pulled back down to the 20. If we pull back down to the 20, this is going to feel like a huge fake out. If we pull down to our prior support, which I've marked with this line here, then this was a huge fake out. And, from if you just take out this candle, so if I just move this over and just ignore today, this is a bear move. We're in bear territory. This is amazing. Like this I couldn't have called this day. And but yeah, the idea is just to not get so emotionally wrapped up that you just rush into your decisions. The thing I like to tell the pro channel is pretend like you're walking into a boardroom whenever you make a trade. You have to be in the mindset of I need a reason for this besides I'm scared, or I need a reason to make this trade besides oh crap, it's moving and I don't want to miss this, or I'm going to chase this asset as it moves away from me. It always has to have a rational reason. So that's where I stand. I'm looking for closes. I'm looking for evidence. I'm looking for information to make my decisions. Blue sky, majority of jobs at present are part-time. So can unemployment data be trusted? Yeah, exactly. I don't know too many people that are, just absolutely, they're working for the fun of it, or that they're working and they have all this extra spending money. I know that we've seen credit card debt hit record highs. So if we're almost to $1 trillion in credit card debt and unemployment is at an all-time high, like we're all unemployed, or excuse me, employment is all-time high, unemployment is all-time low for the last 50 years, that means that we haven't hit the fan yet. Like we're still buying stuff, but we're just loading up those credit cards. It doesn't feel like a strong financial basis for continued growth, I guess. I don't know. It just feels like there's some holes there. So that's a really interesting point, Blue Sky. Appreciate that. Gartner PC LLC says the rationale right now seems to be price go up. Yep, pretty much. Yeah. So even as we've been talking, we're hitting new daily high. I guess maybe we're reaching up again. It's just unbelievable. So, but yeah, even this move, when I zoom out, look how when you have a spike up, you get this fan, right? You have the 50 and the 100 and the 200 separate. And then over here, we had another spike up and we had the 50 and the 100 and the 200 separate. We're doing that again, but most often it hits a buying climax and then it cools off. So I'll zoom in on these so you can see. So we had this buying climax and then our averages split up really good, and then we had this cool off that happened. And over here, same story once I get there. Huge wild run, buying climax, and then things cool off over the next while. Like we hit a low, quite a few hours after, maybe 3 hours later. And so that makes me kind of wonder, if we have 4 hours left in this market, do we hit a buying climax and then cool off for the next 3 hours or whatever? The cool off after this buying climax could actually get us, this cool off could bring us back into range by close. So even this is very interesting. It feels like, I'll go 5-minute charts so it's a little bit more visible. But we've been really hot for quite a while. And, nothing goes up forever. It doesn't. And usually at the point of greatest pain, which is the either selling climax or the buying climax, that's when the whole thing kind of turns around. So that's why I'm kind of sitting on my hands a little bit. I want to see if this is real or what we're really doing. So very, very interesting. Just say the GCO to save time. Oh yeah, right. Thank you. Dilemma. Welcome to chat. Hello all. So yeah, crazy day. I don't have all the answers as to why, but as a trader, we take the information that we're given and we just try to make a rational, measured decision and keep those, keep risk management at the top of mind. So yeah, I'm just gonna be watching to see where this ends up in the next 4 hours or so. If in 4 hours the market's closing pretty good, there's I can see a lot of money waiting to get into this, so it'll be interesting. So don't know if today's video was too helpful, but these are all the thoughts that kind of go through my mind as I navigate this, and as I kind of struggle with being on the wrong side of this one. So, but I guess we'll leave it there. It's been a quite a day, and we'll see how things turn out. I appreciate everyone's support, though. Just watching the free videos and just kind of being here and engaging, it's pretty awesome. I really appreciate everyone being here. So with that, I'll let you go, and we will catch you on the next one. Thanks for making it to the end of my video. Make sure you keep those trades small. Don't force a trade. Don't get impatient. And if you want to see how all this works, please come over and check me out on the subscription channel at cryptoinfluencers.com. Again, the link is in the description.